so glad to see that you're considering hosting an event to expand your ministry's community involvement and ministry potential. The fact that you're here means you probably have one big question before you. Should your event be in person or digital? There's some good reasons to do both, so let's take a closer look at the digital event strategy to learn if it might be the right option for you. If you've been to or heard about a vision dinner, there's a lot of overlap when it comes to digital events. Typically, however, digital events are a 15 to 40 minute program that is pre-recorded and broadcast live to your viewing audience. The program's purpose is to share how God has been working through your team in the past year of ministry, and to invite your viewers to partner with you in a significant way moving forward in ministry. There are a few major benefits that come with a digital event. First, digital events have a greater potential audience. A digital event is a much smaller and more flexible time commitment for your guests. It doesn't require childcare, and it can be viewed from anywhere in the world. Another benefit is that digital events take less work to plan, maybe. These events typically take less time to plan, especially if you are receiving outside help on filming and editing your program. But don't be fooled, these events are still a lot of work. Finally, a digital event presents a much lower financial commitment. Larger in-person events can sometimes cost over $10,000 to put on just because of catering, space rental, printing, and other costs. Most of those costs don't apply to a digital event. Okay, so I guess we're all doing digital events now, right? Well, not so fast. There are also a few major downsides to the digital event strategy. First, these events are far less efficient at raising money. Even though your event will cost far less, you can also expect to raise far less money. As a rough estimate, you can expect that your average gift per participant will probably only be about 25% of what it would be at an in-person event. That means you'll need 4 times as many viewers as you would at an in-person event to hope to raise a comparable amount. Another downside is that it's much harder to keep viewers' attention. If you look at your viewing analytics after your event, you will almost certainly see that over half of your viewers watch for less than a minute, especially on Facebook. And that's because you're competing with so many other things for their attention. That might be their crying or their hungry child, the notification they just got on their phone, the TV show that's on in the background. You get the picture. The last major downside is that digital events are far less effective at developing partners. Remember that we don't do development events simply to meet a budgetary need, but to mobilize the church to invest more of their life, their labor, influence, finances, and expertise into our ministry. Digital events might present some of those opportunities, but they tend to encourage more passive support of the ministry. In other words, it helps them to learn more about your ministry, but it's much harder to get them to feel like they are part of your ministry. So knowing all that, how do we choose? When is it better to do an event digitally than in person? Well, here are some reasons that you might choose a digital event over a vision dinner. Maybe, first, your government has just restricted your ability to hold an in-person gathering due to a public health concern. Or maybe it is safe to meet, but you're launching at a new location. Your team hasn't yet developed local contacts to invite to an in-person event. You may also minister in a remote area with a small enough population that it actually limits how successful an in-person event could be. Or, lastly, maybe your staff team is very small, say 3 or fewer, and you just don't feel like you have the capacity to put on an in-person event. If any one of those scenarios applies to you and your team, it might be worth trying a digital event this year. No matter what you decide, though, you're going to need some help. Thankfully, our development professionals at Team Gold are here for you. Log on today and get started planning your digital event.